Condensed milk buttercream is so easy and so delicious, and best of all, it only uses 2 ingredients. In fact, since I learned how to make it, it's the only buttercream I make. Hi, I'm Astrid from the Sweet Rebellion, and today we're going to be making condensed milk buttercream. Condensed milk buttercream is also known as Russian buttercream and is only made with 2 ingredients: butter and condensed milk. Unlike American buttercream, it contains no icing sugar whatsoever, which I love because I hate sifting icing sugar. When I first made condensed milk buttercream, I couldn't quite understand how all that liquid was going to emulsify with the butter, but somehow it does. The most important thing is to keep your butter at room temperature and your condensed milk at room temperature. If either of those is cold, your buttercream is going to split. Condensed milk buttercream is really rich, creamy, and never grainy because we don't use any icing sugar. It's also less sweet than American buttercream, which I really like. So surprisingly, even though there's so much liquid added to the butter, this buttercream is stiff enough to pipe onto cakes, cupcakes, and use just as you would any other buttercream. For this recipe, the only ingredients you'll need are 250 grams of unsalted butter, 385 grams or 1 tin of condensed milk, a teaspoon of vanilla essence, and a generous pinch of salt. We're going to start off by making the vanilla flavored condensed milk buttercream, and then later on I'm going to show you how to make a chocolate flavor, a caramel flavor, and also a lemon flavor. So although this is a very simple recipe that you can actually make with just 2 ingredients, the salt and vanilla are optional, it's really important that your butter is at the right temperature. Now the way that you can check that your butter is room temperature is you can just press it with your thumb and it should make a light indent. If not, then just leave your butter out for a little bit longer. I find I like to take it out of the fridge about 2 hours before I'm going to use it. Also make sure that your condensed milk is at room temperature. The first step in our recipe is the longest step, but it's very important, and that is to whip our butter. So we're going to just add this to either a stand mixer or electric mixer, and we need to whip it for at least 5 minutes until it's nice and airy and light in color. While you're whipping your butter, just remember to scrape down the sides of your bowl every so often to make sure that all the butter is getting nicely whipped. So this is what your butter should look like after you've whipped it for 5 minutes. You can see that it's really light and fluffy, and also that it's much lighter in color. Let me show you a comparison with just normal room temperature butter, and here is the whipped butter. Next, we're going to add our condensed milk, and we're going to do this in 3 stages. So first we're going to add about 1/3 of it, and then whip it until it's fully combined before adding the second amount, and then whip that until it's nicely combined before adding the last amount. If at any point it looks like your buttercream is starting to split, one of 2 things could be happening. If your mixture is too warm and it starts to split, then all you need to do is put your bowl in the fridge for about 15 minutes and then whip it up again, and it should all come together perfectly. My icing is not perfectly smooth because it is a little bit cold in my kitchen. If your mixture is too cold, then what you're going to do is take about 1/2 cup of the icing out, put it into a smaller bowl and microwave that for about 5 seconds until it's nice and smooth. Then add that back to your buttercream and whip it up again, and that should make it all come together perfectly. At this point, your buttercream is actually ready to use. However, I like to add a little bit of vanilla essence and a pinch of salt just to balance out the flavor. So not only is this buttercream deliciously creamy and not as sweet as American buttercream, but it also pipes perfectly. So let's see how it pipes. And there you go, that's how easy it is to make condensed milk buttercream. When I first made this buttercream, I couldn't quite get my head around how this could possibly work, because we're adding a huge amount of liquid to a fat, which would normally separate. And my theory is that the milk proteins in the condensed milk act as an emulsifier, which is what brings everything together. So that's the vanilla flavor done. Next, let's try a chocolate flavor. So what's different for this recipe is that we're going to use only 1/2 tin or 190 grams of condensed milk, and then we're going to add 100 grams of melted chocolate. So just like before, we're going to start by whipping up our butter for a good 5 minutes until it's nice and light and fluffy. Then we're going to gradually add in our condensed milk. Once all of our condensed milk is incorporated, we're just going to add our warm chocolate to the mixture. And there's your chocolate condensed milk buttercream. Delicious. Next up, we're going to make a caramel flavor. Just like with the chocolate recipe, we're going to use 250 grams of butter, 190 grams of condensed milk, except now we're going to use half a cup of tinned caramel. And that was your caramel flavored condensed milk buttercream. The last flavor we're going to make today is lemon condensed milk buttercream. And we're going to use lemon curd to flavor it. Now, if you'd like to see how to make delicious homemade lemon curd, you can check out the link here. Just like the recipes before, you'll need 250 grams of unsalted butter, 190 grams of condensed milk, and half a cup of lemon curd, plus optional, a pinch of salt. And there's your lemon condensed milk buttercream. Now you know how to make condensed milk buttercream, your traditional vanilla flavor plus 3 delicious variants. Let me know in the comments which flavor you're excited to try. Condensed milk buttercream can be made in advance and kept in the fridge. However, when you're ready to use it, you will need to whip it up again to get that lovely silky texture. Remember, the secret to making a perfect condensed milk buttercream is making sure that all your ingredients are at room temperature. Also, remember to whip your butter for at least 5 minutes and add your condensed milk gradually in 3 stages. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you try any of these buttercreams to decorate your bakes at home, please remember to tag me on social media. I can't wait to see what you make.